Sheikh Hasina not given permission to do politics staying in India, claims Delhi. Necessary constitutional reforms will be made in the light of July Charter, says Law Minister. Government lost moral rights to run the country, comments Jamaat Ameer. And Sergio Gore assures assistance in Rohingya repatriation to Myanmar. Well, good evening, viewers. Those were the headlines. I'm Salehin Qadir, and you're watching English Bulletin. To follow on, Sheikh Hasina has not been given permission to form political platform to conduct any political activity staying in India. Indian central government in a report conveyed this information to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on External Affairs. Times of India told this in a report on Friday. In the latest report, the committee noted that Sheikh Hasina's stay in India reflected the country's civilization ethos and humanitarian tradition of offering refuge to individuals facing circumstances of grave distress or existential threats, while observing that India had adhered to the principle that no political activity should be directed against another country from its own soil. According to the report, India's relevant authorities are reviewing Dhaka's request for the extradition of former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Law Minister Muhammad Asaduzzaman has said that the Constitution Reform Committee will make the necessary constitutional reforms in the light of July Charter. He said this in reply to questions from journalists after inaugurating the tree fair at the old DC Code premises in Jinaida City this morning. At the same event, State Minister for Civil Aviation and Tourism M. Rashiduzzaman Millat said that a master plan has been adopted to attract domestic and foreign tourists to the country's tourist centers. If implemented, the country's tourism sector will go a long way. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman does not want corruption, but it takes place after accepting such responsibility for failure. The government has lost moral rights to run the country. Jamaat Ameer and leader of the opposition, Dr. Shafiqur Rahman, made the comment at the Triennial National Conference of Bangladesh Transport Workers Federation at National Press Club on Friday morning. The Jamaat Ameer said that the government's promise was to create employment, but the reality is they have rehabilitated the extortionists. No one has changed except Prime Minister Tariq Rahman, referring to the statement of BNP Secretary General. Dr. Shafiqur Rahman raised the question, how can corruption happen when the Prime Minister does not want it? Commenting that denying the referendum result means insulting the people. The Jamaat Ameer said that nobody will be spared if they work against the people's aspirations. Sergio Gore, the U.S. Special Envoy for South and Central Asia, visited the Ukhiya Rohingya refugee camp in Cox's Bazar to see firsthand the current situation of the Rohingya displaced from Myanmar. On Friday morning, a 14-member high-level delegation led by Sergio Gore visited the Rohingya camp in Ukhiya. The delegation observed the scene of the Rohingya camp from the Ukhiya Watch Tower. They visited the registration center in Camp 4 and the IRC hospital in Camp 6. Later, they went to the food and voucher shop run by the United Nations agency WFP in Camp 4 Extension. There, they exchanged views with the Rohingyas. At the same time, the Rohingya presented their demands. Later, Sergio Gore met with relief, refugee and repatriation officials. Later, the commissioner said that the issue of decreasing global donations for the Rohingya was highlighted. They eschewed to move forward the repatriation process in Myanmar. Meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy for South and Central Asia, Sergio Gore, held a meeting with Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Dinesh Trivedi. Dinesh Trivedi met Sergio Gore at the hotel where the latter is residing at 8 a.m. on Friday morning. Sources said U.S. Ambassador Brent Christensen was also present in the meeting. However, no side revealed anything about the matter. A complaint has been filed with Habiganj Shodor Model Police Station, naming 9 people, including Jatiya Nagrik Party NCP's chief organizer Nasiruddin Patwari and Northern Region chief organizer Sarjis Alam, and 50 others accused as unknown accused for the attack on Chhatradal in Habiganj town. The complaint states that as a part of the Central Chhatradal program, leaders and activists gathered in front of the Court Mosque of Habiganj municipality on Tuesday to meet the family of July movement martyr Ripon Shil and participate in a condolence meeting. At the same time, Nasiruddin Patwari, Sarjis Alam and other accused allegedly attacked Chhatradal leaders and activists with local-made weapons. Habiganj District Unit Chhatradal leaders Mahfouz Chaudhry and Muzakkir Hussain Imon and several others were also injured. The complaint also claims that the attackers snatched 4 mobile phones and cash money. Please, we now follow with a short break and we will be back soon with Hamas agrees to Trump's plan to disarm in Gaza. Welcome back. You're watching ATN News. This is English Bulletin. To follow on, the gas crisis in the capital has become acute. Drivers are waiting for hours at CNG filling stations but are unable to get gas. On the other hand, stoves are not burning in homes. As a result, the daily lives of the common people, starting from the transport sector, are being disrupted. Most residents in Dhanmondi have been living without gas. In addition, for the last 10 days, there has been no gas in the lines at all in most areas, including Badda, Rampura, Dhanmondi, Mohammadpur, Mirpur, Adabor, Uttara and Old Dhaka. The victims are forced to buy rice cookers, induction stoves and LPG cylinders at high prices for cooking. The lower class is also in danger. CNG supply was stopped at most filling stations in Mog Bazar, Tejgaon, Shahabag and Mohammadpur in the capital on Friday. Members of Rapid Action Battalion Rapton have uncovered a yaba manufacturing factory in Dhaka's Keraniganj. The RAB members have arrested 4 persons along with yaba tablets, raw materials and manufacturing equipment. The arrestees were identified as Muhammad Alamgir, Muhammad Ali Arman, Muhammad Shah Jahan and Sonia Begum. RAB said Alamgir is an accused in 3 narcotics cases. Commander of Rapton Additional Deputy Inspector General Muhammad Asaduzzaman made the disclosure at a news briefing held at RAB Media Center in Karwan Bazar. Acting on a tip-off, RAB conducted the raid around 10:15 p.m. on Thursday in Madhyachar South Baluchar area under Keraniganj Model Police Station. During the operation, RAB recovered 1,968 pieces of yaba tablets and yaba production materials. The suspects had been producing yaba and supplying the drugs for a long time. Viewers, we now begin with news around the world. Hamas and other Palestinian factions finally agreed to a document setting out a plan for the disarmament in Gaza. The roadmap also calls for a phased withdrawal of Israeli forces. US President Donald Trump described it a groundbreaking step towards lasting peace. After months of marathon talks, Palestinian factions accepted a framework of Trump-led Gaza border peace plan to completely disarm. The disarmament process will begin with the entry of National Committee and the International Stabilization Force to Gaza. National Committee will then oversee the inventory and storage process, with the International Verification Committee observing and the Palestinian factions participating. Iran Army claimed to have targeted US military facilities at Kuwait's Ahmed al-Jaber airbase in a drone attack on Friday. In a statement reported by Iran's news agency, the army said it had targeted hangars, satellite communication systems and equipment warehouses using drones. The Kuwait facility serves as a vital hub for US aerial surveillance and operational support in the region. Iran Army claimed that the attack was retaliation for US strikes on multiple locations in Iran a day earlier, including the residential home on Qassim Island, killed a couple with a 2-year-old child. Well, at least 19 migrants died as tens of thousands of people reportedly breached Morocco's border with Ceuta and entered an enclave in the past 24 hours. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez called the crossing a violation of Spanish territorial sovereignty. According to reports from news agencies, thousands of people rushed by sea and land from Morocco into the North African Spanish enclave on Thursday and overnight into Friday. Of those, more than 40,000 may have entered the territory. Well, viewers, before ending the bulletin, we have top stories once again. Sheikh Hasina not given permission to do politics staying in India, claims Delhi. Necessary constitutional reforms will be made in light of July Charter, says Law Minister. Government lost moral rights to run the country, comments Jamaat Ameer. Sergio Gore assures assistance in Rohingya repatriation to Myanmar. Hamas agrees to Trump's plan to disarm in Gaza. Well, that's all for the newsroom for the moment. Thank you for being with us. Until then, see you soon.